Street Apologist. Let me double check real quick to make sure everything's on the up and up. And while you guys are coming in, let me ask you to go ahead and grab this link and share it. And be sure to hit that like button as well. Yep, we are live. Let me turn down my other self on the other one. All right, hold up, just give me a second here. Got a pretty deep topic tonight. Got a very heavy topic, and kind of no time, is really necessarily good to do these kinds of topics. Yeah, it's Mother's Day. There's a lot of going on. There's injustice in our world taking place. All these different things. But man, we got to do it when we got to do it, and we got to do it now because the issue is becoming pertinent and relevant. And so here we go. So tonight I'm going to have joining me my man, faithful to God, fellow urban Christian apologist. And I want you to, like I said, hit this link, hit this like button, grab this link, share it on social media. And then also subscribe to this channel. If you don't subscribe, make sure you hit that bell so you get all the notifications, all right? And be active in the live chat. The mods will tell you the rules. We're going to have an enjoyable night because we touch serious topics. Try to do so in a way that edifies you at the end, encourages you, maybe even a little bit entertaining, because this is Street Apologist, the show where we try to make apologetics fun again. And it's also the show where we serve the underserved and look into the overlooked. And we're definitely going to be doing that here tonight on Street Apologist. So let's go. What's up, y'all? This is Vocab Malone in the house. You've got the intro, and now it's time to bring up our guest today. Faithful to God, welcome to Street Apologist Live. How you doing, brother? Let's make sure the people can hear you loud and clear.
I hope I can be heard loud and clear.
Yeah, so far so good, my man. Tell people where they can find your information on YouTube, and then I'm going to let you actually introduce this issue to the audience tonight, my man.
You can find me on YouTube by typing Faithful to God, just as it's written out, Faithful to God. Or you can find me on Facebook as well, Faithful to God. And that's pretty much the way you can reach me.
All right. Well, it's good to have you here tonight, of course, brother. The audio is a little bit choppy. I knew sometimes this happens, everything's fine before we do our sound check. Everything's all good. And then right when we go live, it doesn't sound perfect anymore. So we'll have to kind of work through that. Looks like I've done everything on my end. So sometimes we'll see. Check this out, everybody. Early in the summer, by God's grace, I'm getting a device that's going to be dedicated to the live streaming. Because right now I have this laptop doing a lot of work. I have multiple things happening all from this little laptop, and it simply can't handle it. So sometimes the reason why there's delays or errors in the show is really because the laptop is doing too much. And so by God's grace, David Wood, my man, is hooking me up, and we are going to be able to have a dedicated machine for the live stream itself, and everything else we run off a separate machine. And so by God's grace, late June, we should be having smoother live streams than ever, and that's what I'm hoping. And my man DJ Next, who is in the live chat, is going to have to come through. Now, faithful to God, you told me there's already been some super chats. Who we got super chatting so far, man? What they say? Because you were the one telling me about them, faithful to God. You said we had some people in the super chat, right? Dropping some super chats. Who we got in there, bro?
John the Arminian, if I'm not mistaken.
John the Arminian! Thank you very much. All right, anyone else? Is that the one?
Man, that is funny. One of your mortal enemies sending you $10.
Man,
I think he.
Arminians are my mortal enemies, bro. You know that. Those are my buddies. Like, if I hated Arminians, I'd have
John the Arminian. He says, "Vocab, you are one of the greatest Christian apologists of our generation. If only you weren't Calvinists. LOL. But seriously, keep up the good work. And prayer
You
emoji.
know, overall,
There you go.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I think that's legit. Well, we got about 50 people watching already, so I think we can start. Faithful to God, I'm hoping your audio doesn't break up too much. Let's see if you can introduce this issue to the audience. We need to kind of explain to people why we're doing this program tonight. And so if you could walk up the issues, my man, break it down to those who don't know what's going on. Let's hip them. Let's explain to them what is going
So
on.
basically, there was. Hopefully, I'm not choppy now.
You're good.
I hope
You're
I sound good. So there was a recent video put forth by a Hebrew Israelite by the name of Kelly Richardson. Kelly Richardson is a non-camper, for the record. He is not affiliated with any camp or anything like that. And he basically made a video on the apologist community, urban apologist community, where he essentially was coming at us with his gripes against us. And one of his gripes against you was that he believed that you seem to be lumping all Hebrew Israelites together based on a video that you did in December where you were talking about the Jersey City shooter, and you mentioned that he was affiliated at one point with the ICGJC and that he self-identified as a Hebrew Israelite. And so he played a clip, and he used that to try to make it seem like vocab doesn't know what he's talking about. In essence, doing to you what and us what they're accusing us of doing to them. So hopefully the audience heard me.
And so let me break this down, Faithful. I have the script for the video about the Jersey City shooting that happened back in November. Now, a lot of you saw that on my channel. I called it, what did I call it? 5 reasons, or what did I call it? 5 things you need to know about Hebrew Israelites, or 5 reasons for the Jersey City shooting. I don't know if you have in front of you. But it was on my channel. It was also on David Wood's channel. He put it at Act 17 Apologetics, and there it was called What Everyone Needs to Know About the Black Hebrew Israelites. That was David's title. Aired December 15th, 2019. That thing has got 92,000 views on Wood's channel. So give it 8,000 more, it's going to have 100,000 views. Obviously, it doesn't have as many on mine. All right, David Wood is a heavy hitter. That's my man.
David Wood love.
Yeah, but it's been on other channels as well. It's on your channel, I believe, right? And it's been on some other people's channel too because people found it helpful. What I did is I gave 5 reasons where you would see a link between David Anderson's ideology and what he did. And in it, I pointed out specifically that this was a One West thing. Let me read here a little bit from the script. So I'm reading from the script of the video. All right? So I'm going to read this, okay? This is from reason number 2. This is reading from the script, okay? Before you hear the second reason, Jersey shooter David Anderson did what he did, you need to understand this. Everyone remember, this is from the script of the video that Kelly Richardson and other Hebrew Israelites have criticized, saying I'm lumping people together, stuff like that. Now I'm quoting from the script. These next 4 beliefs are not universally held by all black Hebrew Israelites. These next 4 beliefs are not universally held by all black Hebrew Israelites. Reason number 1 is something all the various groups within the movement believe, that Jews are usurpers. But these next reasons are generally held by what are called the One West Hebrew Israelites. One West Hebrew Israelites are composed of multiple factions, so there I even show there's diversions within that ideology. But all trace their ideology to a school in Harlem, New York, founded in 1969. Examples of One West groups are IUIC, ISUPK, ISBHPK, ISOC, GOCC, AOC, AOI, LOI, FWOI, Sakari, THUG. And let me stop right there. Some people thought I was playing a joke when I mentioned a group called THUG, because clearly the acronym is Thug. That was not a joke. That was a camp. That was a One West camp that I became aware of like a week before this video when I scripted it. And so I was like, I got to include that because that's wild. Now, since then, I've been told through indirect communication that, according to Al-Azhar, the camp is no longer active. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what he said. But it's still a 101 West camp. GMS and the ICGJC. Now, listen to what I say here, everyone. ICGJC, which stands for the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ, is the group with which both David Anderson and Francine Graham were affiliated. Now, that's not the only line I have in there about them. Okay? It's not the only line. I have other lines as well. And I'm going to get to those in a second here. And I go on to point out that some of the information I came by in this video, now I'm paraphrasing the script, is pointed out to me by a former member of the ICGJC. And I give a shout out to San Miguel. Now listen to what I say here. This is under reason number 3. I'm going to quote from the script again. Oh, someone just gave a super chat. Paul P. from New Zealand. Thank you for the super chat. Woo-wee. Thank you, Paul P. for the super chat. Here's quoting from the script here. Listen to what it says, faithful. REI is in the upper leadership of the school, which David Anderson was once linked with the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ. So I said we're affiliated, so that can be taken either way. I get that, but it's in the past tense, but it's clarified later on. I wrote this a specific way. I wrote the script a certain way, so it would be clarified, because it is clarified with this line, and this is from the script of the video from which I read, was once linked with. So notice, faithful, I'm going to give this back to you, okay, because I'm lining up some videos here and some articles in a second. But notice, everyone, what happened. I mentioned, number 1, it was only specifically one Westism that would have influenced him. And I also noted specifically that he was once affiliated with the ICGJC. Okay? So there's that. Now, Faithful, handing it back over to you. Do you want me to play this little clip? Where in Richardson's video is this one little clip I'm supposed to play? What was the time code again, bro?
So it's around 4 minutes and I want to say like 20 seconds in.
Let me line that up while you're breaking it down, please.
Yeah. So in the video, what he's going to attempt to do before we play this is to essentially make it seem as if you were falsely attributing affiliation to the Hebrew Israelite movement to these shooters based on a particular police official who came forward and said, due to their investigation, apparently something to the effect of that there was nothing concrete at that point in time. However, anyone that's been watching your streams during the whole time that you were doing the Jersey City shooter stuff would know that you actually presented substantial evidence to show that David Anderson was in fact affiliated with the Hebrew Israelite movement very directly. The video is entitled No Dialogue, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah. So he essentially asserts that you are lumping all Hebrew Israelites together and that you are basically trying to say that the Jersey City shooter, and you're using stuff like that to basically undermine the Hebrew Israelite movement, what they perceive to be the quote-unquote awakening, by affiliating these people who supposedly had nothing to do with the Hebrew Israelite movement whatsoever, to basically cause people to think that all Hebrew Israelites think the same, that all Hebrew Israelites are basically in agreement with this, when that's absolutely not the case, because you've actually mentioned several times in one of these live streams, not the one that you did on David Wood's channel, but on your channel, you actually mentioned that there were Hebrew Israelites that spoke out against the whole thing that the Jersey City shooter did. But of course, there doesn't seem to be much nuance with these people. They seem to think that they can falsely accuse you of doing the very things that they accuse you of doing. You know, like, yeah.
All right, I got it lined up. I'm going to play here from that part, so we're going to see exactly what he's saying. You've heard about the anti-Semitic attack by 2 black Hebrew Israelites in New Jersey in December 2019. You're wondering why. You want to understand, why did David Anderson and Francine Graham... First of all, I don't understand. Maybe you can help me out, Faithful. Why is he playing the Ghostbusters soundtrack in the background?
I have no idea, man. Ghostbusters.
I was wondering that. Okay, so you don't have any insight in that. Notice,
No.
I hope he's not trying to debate that these folks were Hebrew Israelites. Okay, but either way, we're gonna bring so much proof forward before the end of this thing that, it's just he's gonna have a serious credibility problem. I'm gonna continue on playing it here. Murder 4 people. Why did this couple specifically target Jewish Americans? I'm a researcher who specializes in what is called the Hebrew Israelite community. If you want to understand the Jersey City shootings, give me 13 minutes and I'll give you 5 reasons. Now, this video is funny. How long is this thing? This thing's an hour and 11 minutes. And it's kind of hailed as like some kind of masterpiece within the Hebrew Israelite internet spectrum. And granted, it is better than most of the videos produced from that side of things. Okay. But
from a technical aspect,
but
not from the argument aspect.
No,
yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if we're expecting that anymore. But it's still really odd. It begins really strange. Shalom Israel. Like the voice intonations. There's a lot of strange things going on here, including Ghostbusters music. But let's continue on. I'm going to show you the 5 ways Anderson's beliefs connect directly to his horrendous actions. These are the 5 reasons for David Anderson's wicked murders. Still playing the video.
There's been considerable reporting that these 2 suspects are linked to the Black Hebrew Israelite movement.
Now stop right there. There's been considerable reporting they're linked to the Black Hebrew Israelite movement. Okay. So there he's just talking about the movement. Now, again, does anyone know who this reporter is? It's not stated. We don't know the reporter. We don't know the channel. We don't know the station. We don't know the date because dates matter. This sounds like it came out in the very beginning when this very first happened. If the images on the screen are related to the news clip video that Kelly Richardson's playing, then this is in the very beginning. More information comes out later. It's funny that he thinks this random reporter, who he never names, debunks everything I said in a very carefully sourced 13-minute video. It's really bizarre. But tonight we're bringing out receipts. So let me continue to play this so his failure can be complete.
We have evidence that both suspects expressed interest in this group.
Okay, so he goes from movement to group. Okay, those could be relatively the same thing and just talking about this general religion, but he's going to say something later that lets you know he doesn't really know what he's talking about, and that's to be expected with the news media dealing with Hebrew Israelism. But I'm going to show you what he says that shows you it's not clear what he's saying.
We have not definitively established any formal links to that organization. 2
things there. Formal links. Formal links is different than any link at all. He may not have had a position or been a member at the time. That would be called a formal link. But that's different than say that's not his ideology. I did a whole live stream, and I think it was with you, Faithful, or you put on your channel. This is all a blur now, but we definitively showed the man was clearly a Hebrew Israelite. But then he says organization. Real quick, I got to make this one last thing on this. He says organization. Now, organization is different than movement or group. What I mean is, he says no formal links with that organization. What organization? Black Hebrew Israelite is not an organization. If he's saying no formal links to the organization of the ICJJC, that makes sense. But the thing is, he never mentions the ICJJ in this little clip. My point is, it's strange that Kelly Richardson thinks this reporter who's not fully versed on the issues, he transposes, he trades the words of organization, movement, and then formal links with an organization, which he doesn't name. The Hebrew Israelite is not an organization. I'm just saying it's odd that he thinks this is doing something for him. But I'm going to play it after, Faithful, you make your point, my man. Go ahead, bro.
So I actually sent a link that was given to me by San Miguel, ironically enough, who was a former member of the ICGJC, where a news report was put out basically alluding to the idea that the man in question, David Anderson, was at some point affiliated with the ICGJC.
I'm going to play that. I don't know if it's the same one, but I'm going to play it. I'm going to play one. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so basically, it wasn't anything at all that you just did on the fly,
No.
that you just made up. You actually researched this before you went with the information that you presented. So it's crazy to think that they're accusing you of being deceptive when you were very transparent and open with the information that you received, that you yourself investigated, because there's also the question of his Facebook page and various other things, but we'll get into that later, obviously.
Which we're
But
gonna
it's
play, we're
it's
gonna show some videos from his Facebook page, which was deleted by Facebook shortly after this happened. But we managed to snag a couple of videos. Shout out to TT Beezy in the super chat. Keep doing your thing. You've been faithful for the super chat. I'm sorry if I missed anybody else, but shout out to you. All right, let's continue to play just this part. We're not gonna play a whole lot of this video, but I want to show you how silly this is. Hey, shout out to Creative Studios. He wants to become a mod. Mods, could you send Creative Studios the paperwork? Everyone, there is a paperwork process now by which you become a mod, because we had a situation where some of our mods basically went ham. So we had to kick them out. So now we have a screening process. All right, continuing on.
Or to any other group based on the available evidence.
See, that doesn't make sense. Link to that organization or to any other group? Well, what do you mean any other Hebrew Israelite group, or do you mean any other religious group? What does he mean there? It's exactly unclear. Oh, so that's the guy talking there. Okay. Well, nonetheless, everything I said still holds true. But here we go.
We believe that the two shooters were acting on their own.
Okay, acting on their own doesn't mean they're not still of the mindset of a Hebrew Israelite, and it also doesn't mean that they never had any links or affiliation with any particular camp or anything. Does everyone understand the differences here? All right, so the specific. All right, so he goes on and plays a little bit. Oh, what do I say? Okay, he plays this clip. We need to play this. Anderson was a part of the ICGJC prophesied this climactic event was going to happen in 1999.
There has been considerable.
So he plays that as if that's not true, as if what the man, what is that? That's the DA, I think, not a reporter. Excuse me on that. As if I think the DA was contradicting what I'm saying. No, in fact, we're gonna show it, but watch what he says here.
That these
oh,
two
he just replays it.
Are linked to the Black Hebrew Israelite.
All right, so I think we're laying out the issues, faithful. Anything I missed before I start actually, I'm going to show that news clip first that you mentioned. I'm going to show that. But anything you want to help people understand, because sometimes when you do these apologetic back and forth, you know, it's like we're playing a video, responding to a video. I get it. It can be confusing. So I just want to make sure the audience is following along all of this and why it matters as well. Can you do that while I set up this next clip, my man?
Yeah, so basically he went with I believe it was a video clip of the police detective or whoever that was.
I think it was the DA, if not mistaken. I think the DA is a Sikh gentleman, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what he is playing there. Not a news reporter. I misspoke when I said that, but go ahead. Faithful?
Oh, there we go. Okay, yep. So basically the clip that he showed was early on, I assume early on when things were still unclear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much things were unclear. And so therefore they mentioned that they seemed to be a part of the Black Hebrew Israelite movement, although no formal links were found. In other words, that they weren't affiliated with a particular group at the time of the shooting, anything like that. Not that the gentleman in question wasn't self-identifying as a Hebrew Israelite, in this case of the camp variety. So we are making a distinction there. We're not trying to lump them in with the non-campers, but specifically of the camp variety. But there didn't seem to be any formal links. But what isn't being said is that these people weren't self-identifying as Hebrew Israelites, because we're going to show evidence that they absolutely were, or at the very least in the case of David Anderson, that he absolutely was.
Yes, exactly. So give me a second here, guys, and I'm going to line up this news report. All right, so so here's a news report that you can find online. You know, go to Pix 11, and this is only a minute and 11 seconds here, and this is a little bit later. You know, after things are popping off, right? And one thing that I want to say that's important here, everybody, is what you have a situation where one of their sources in law enforcement says that they were affiliated with the ICGJC. So everyone listen, I'm going to play this. Listen carefully to what is said here, okay? This would have been better research if your man would have wanted to do it and got with this and understood what was going on. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. All right, here we go. I'm about to play this. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh my God. One of the shooters, David Anderson, was linked to the Black Hebrew Israelite movement. It has many.
Okay, this is true. He was linked, and we're going to show further evidence of it. He was linked. Now watch what the reporter says here.
Sects, but law enforcement tells us he may have been connected to the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ.
Law enforcement tells us. Now, this is not the only clip of this, okay? If this was all we had to go on, I never would have included it. This is one. So we're dealing with multiple sources. So the news people have their source. Now, look, law enforcement didn't name every Hebrew Israelite camp. They named one specific one. And by the way, there was prior, I think it's shuttered now, a Jersey City ICGJC location. Meaning it was right there as well, right? So this is not, this is not made up stuff. Again, listen to this carefully.
Oh my God. One of the shooters, David Anderson, was linked to the Black Hebrew Israelite movement. It has many sects, but law enforcement tells us he may have been connected to the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ, often described as a racist hate group. Pix 11's Mary Murphy went to the sect's Jersey City location on Wednesday.
A law enforcement source told Pix 11 he became affiliated with the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ here in Jersey City, which was shuttered today.
A statement provided to Pix 11 by the sect's attorney denied any affiliation with Anderson or his murderous colleague, Francine Graham. It said, quote, "We emphatically denounce their deplorable and unspeakable actions and offer our heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of the victims."
Stop right there. So, of course, the lawyer is going to say, no. I mean, of course, right? But news agencies have their sources, and they're saying one particular camp. Notice the reporter was actually better informed than the DA, it seems. You know, hey, there's many factions of it, but law enforcement, our source tells us one particular one. Now, again, I'm going to show other places. Now, the news isn't going to waste their time going out specifically to the ICGJC, Jersey City, unless they're sure that's really the camp he was once affiliated with. And that's what the report even says. This little piece, this 1 minute 11, it's decent reporting. And we can search out which one is which. Right, whereas even with the DAC was what the DA, I believe that was the DA for Jersey, was a little less clear. Now, Faithful, what do you think of this? Do you really think the ICGGC has heartfelt condolences to dead Ashkenazis? I mean, I'm not trying to, it's just hard for me to imagine knowing some of the things that the ICGGC has said. Do you really think they have heartfelt condolences to dead Ashkenazis?
Well, I mean,
you kind of doubt it, don't you?
I feel that this was their way of basically trying to distance themselves from the shooter altogether, right? David Anderson specifically. But the thing is, the whole point was to say that at some point in time he was affiliated with the ICGJC, not that he was a current active member of the ICGJC when he did the shooting. Right. So therefore, they are, in a sense, correct in saying that they have no affiliation whatsoever with the gentleman in question at the time of the shooting. Not that they never had any affiliation with him at any point in time. That's important to note. Now,
again, we want to make note. We're not even trying to be careful when it comes to moderates, non-campers, whatever terms you want to use, even one-westers. We're even trying to be careful within the ICJGC. Here's what I mean by that. If Anderson and Graham, as other forces say, and we're going to show that in a second here, attended the ICGJC in Jersey City, in a certain manner speaking, that's not the ICGJC's fault, per se. We're not really even blaming them. We're just saying the facts that he was once affiliated with them. And we are saying this. The ICGJC, as a One West camp, does teach certain things that could lead a guy like Anderson to go rogue and do what he did. There's clearly a connection between their ideology. Clearly. Yes. All you got to do is study their lessons and listen to what they say. And when it comes to Arya and Shar, right? That's the other guy that's still there. Am I wrong or right on that? I always get confused.
Arya and Shar, yes.
Yeah, Arya and Shar, you can go back all the way to the 70s, maybe the 80s is when we first get steady recordings from them, but certainly the 90s, you can go back far and listen to things they were saying. And so to have a guy like Anderson and Graham be influenced is not some crazy thing, and we're going to show that. Now, let me finish this news report.
If I could actually chime in,
yeah.
if I could just chime in before you play the rest of the news report. What we're not saying is that the camps, to be fair, we're not saying that the camps are actively advocating, at least, not all of them, because we don't know what all of them are actually teaching.
Publicly,
but the ones that
none of them that we know of ever advocate for any action like this. Publicly, right. We know of. Never.
But the doctrine, especially the eschatology that they promote,
yes,
right, faulty eschatology, can lead unhinged individuals such as David Anderson to grab a hold of those things and try to bring them to fruition. And that's essentially what we're mentioning when we say that the ideology is dangerous, because it's promoting something that for someone like David Anderson, who can't make distinctions, or other people who have any sort of mental illness or who are just completely unhinged.
They get tired some of them get tired of waiting.
Of course.
So that's exactly right. So notice how careful we're trying to be here, but at the same time, we're not going to back down from the facts. There's only 20 seconds left in this. Let me play it here.
Quote, the statement also denies it's a Black Hebrew Israelite organization and says, quote, we are not a hate group.
Now, I don't know what they're talking about there. They deny they're a Black Hebrew Israelite organization. I don't know if that, I don't know if that's a quote. How could they not be? But maybe they just don't like the term Black Hebrew Israelite. Now, of course, they say we're not a hate group. That's not a, everyone says that now. But do they teach you should hate Esau? Yes, they teach you should hate Esau.
And the other nations.
And
right?
Moab, and the Hamites, and the Ammonites, and the Moabites, and the Ishmaelites. Who did I leave out? Elamites and everybody else. Hey, shout out to Timothy for the super chat. So, these guys aren't truthful anyway, but at the same time, I get it. He wasn't involved with at the time. All right.
We are familiar with the group.
Thursday morning, reporters asked New York City's police commissioner about the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ.
Now, why did reporters ask him specifically about the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ? Because multiple reporters had sources from law enforcement. That's who he was affiliated with. And notice what he says. And it says as the city's police commissioner, we are familiar with the group. I'm just saying, we're not making up which group he was affiliated with, okay?
Many people are probably familiar with them. We do not have any specific acts of violence that we've associated with this group in the recent past.
We don't have any specific acts from the recent past. He's trying. A shout out to Mr. Phil Fox for the super chat, and giving a shout out to the SA Squad and Mr. Paul P as well. And like I said, Timothy and all y'all. Okay, now here's what I want to show. So he says that. Right? But now I'm bringing it back to showing our faces on the screen again. I want to share my screen here. Actually, you know what? Let me go back to there. Let's put some, we're gonna put some articles. We're gonna put some excuse me, man, I can't even think straight. We're gonna put some stuff on the screen for you guys to see, okay? And I'm gonna show you exactly how I did this. Everyone, look in the description of the live stream you are watching right now, and I've put multiple sources right here. Okay, click on Show More. It says here are relevant background articles which may be referenced. You see all these? Quite a few there, all right? And I'm going to open up some of these here. Okay, I'm going to open up some of these here, and I'm going to show you some things here. Let's see.
Oh, look, we have Yacoba. If this is the same Yacoba that I think it is, isn't this the gentleman that was calling you vote crap? But apparently, you're the one that's using tactical behavior, and that you're, trying to lump everybody together. And meanwhile, you have individuals in the live stream who have referred to you as vote crap and disparaged you and find it very okay to slander you, to disparage your character. Yeah.
Yeah, these guys aren't necessarily known for being, I don't know, for using equal scales, shall we say. All right, now, Faithful, I've got an article up here. I'm going to bring up some of these articles later, but I notice when I bring up too many articles, that's when your audio distorts, so I think it's having too much going on here. Although we heard, but hey, everybody, we'll be nice to all the Hebrews-lights attending. We'll be nice to them. You know what I'm saying? They just got to follow the rules. Just break it down. We usually cut them a little bit extra slack. Okay, so look at this, Faithful. I don't know if you can see this on your screen here. This is from the timesofisrael.com. This is not the only news article that has this information, okay? I just want to make that clear to everybody. However, it is one. Now, I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to show you something. December 13, 2019. Everyone see that? I'm going to make my self a little bit smaller here on the screen so that you can see it clearly. Now, I don't know if you saw this, Faithful, but shortly after this happened, the ICGJC was raided again. Now, when I first saw those news reports, I thought the media was maybe making a mistake, confusing the prior raid by the FBI because of the tax evasion by the comforter, by the God-sent comforter, Jermaine Grant, who's now deceased because of COVID-19. You can check our show on that. I thought they were making a mistake in conflating that or something like that. But no, it is true that they were raided apparently again a second time after this shooting. Law enforcement they didn't raid all Hebrew Israelite camps. They didn't raid everybody. They only raided the ICGAC. Now let's read this. Jersey City shooting shines light on Black Hebrew Israelites' extreme beliefs. FBI raids Harlem offices of a major Black Hebrew Israelite group as killer linked to sect that often spreads anti-Semitic rhetoric. Every sentence, every line in that sentence is true. Associated Press, so it's not just Times of Israel. I hope everyone understands. It's from the AP. Pretty credible. Pedestrian walked past the world headquarters, and that's accurate as well, of the ICG Jesus Christ, Thursday, December 12, 2019, in the Harlem neighborhood of New York. Now, look what it says here. The deadly shooting rampage at a New Jersey kosher market has cast a spotlight on a fringe movement known for its anti-Semitic strain of street preaching and its role in a viral video confrontation at the Lincoln Memorial this year. And so those weren't ICGJC members. Those are House of Israel members, but they're still One Westers, and you can check out our video we did on that in regards to Covington. Investigators believe that the man and woman who killed 3 people at the Jersey City grocery Tuesday, in addition to gunning down a police officer at a cemetery, hated Jews and law enforcement and expressed interest in the Black Hebrew Israelites movement. New Jersey Attorney General. So I said DA, which would have been district attorney, but I believe the man, as we can see by this article, he's the AG. It's a lot to keep track of. You know what I'm saying? I get that. It's a lot to keep track of. You can tell I have trouble with some of this too, because that's the man that was speaking, and they're quoting here the same thing. Gerber Grawal said Thursday. But we have not definitively established any formal links to that organization or any group. He said, based on the available evidence, we believe the 2 churches were acting on their own, which we agree with. They were acting on their own. That's true. But now look what it says. The Jersey City killers who died during the attack were identified as David and Anderson, 47, and Francine Graham, 50. An Instagram account that apparently belonged to Anderson shows he was an aspiring rapper. We played some of his music on the live stream we did on this, whose posts included at least one reference to Black Hebrew Israelite philosophy, and we found more accounts after this, so this is not the only one. A list of the 12 tribes of Israel from the Bible, with each tribe equated to a modern-day ethnic group or country. America has nothing for us but death, a caption on one of his posts read. The account went dormant a few years ago. Now, I was able to find this account specifically that they're talking about, and everything that they're saying there is true. And there you can see, here's a photo provided by the Kent, Ohio Police Department. He spent some time in Ohio, got in some trouble there, and that's from 2011. But notice the picture I used on the thumbnail of the show. Why haven't you seen that picture of Anderson anywhere else? And I'll tell you why. It's because the news media didn't have access to it. They didn't know how to find some of his other accounts. Specifically, me and Abu were able to find some of other Anderson's accounts. And if you look at the picture on the thumbnail to this show, which is Guess Which Religion I Am, should be obvious to anyone mildly familiar with the issues, that is a picture of Anderson in full Hebrew Israelite regalia. He's got a machete and fringes and combat boots and camo pants on. All right? because we were able to find some things they weren't able to find, okay? On Wednesday, the FBI searched the Harlem offices of a major black Israelite group, according to a law enforcement official who was not authorized to discuss the case publicly and spoke on condition of anonymity. Now, why did they specifically search the ICGGC? Because that's who they were once affiliated with. A law enforcement official told local New York news outlet Pix 11 that Anderson was linked to the Israelite Church of God, Jesus Christ, in Jersey City, some 2 blocks from where the shooting took place. Now, there's some of the people that he murdered there. Moshe Deutsch, and you also see Leah Minda Ferenc there. However, a lawyer for the Israelite Church of God Jesus Christ in New York, part of the same sect, told USA Today it had no connection with the shooter. There's no relationship to the events in Jersey City. There's no connection whatsoever, no knowledge of the individuals. Not all sects of the movement spew hateful rhetoric. Now, notice, sometimes even the news does a decent job. Now, I totally criticize the news all the time, okay? But here, they're getting it right. Not all sects of the movement spew hateful rhetoric. All right? See, we're not trying to lump everybody. We're just saying who's who. But many black Israelites subscribe to an extreme set of anti-Semitic beliefs. Lord knows that's true. These followers view themselves as the true chosen peoples and believe that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the true descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel, said Oren Segal, director of the ADL. They view white people as agents of Satan. I don't know if that's exactly right, because most of these groups don't believe in a personal Satan. So to say white people as agents of Satan, and this is why, you interview the ADL, and the ADL has some other good research, because the ADL, one of the things they had posted is one of the ways we found some of these secret accounts by Anderson, because the ADL was able to find them, and then it led me and Abu to other things. So they did some different work. They know how to find social media accounts of these killers before they disappear, the social media accounts, that is. But this is not exactly right, okay? So we give credit where credit is due. They believe Jews are liars and false worshipers of God. That sentence is not exactly very descriptive, but I guess it's relatively true, or generally true. They view blacks as the true Israelites and not the imposter Jews. Okay, that's true. Most who encounter the movement's followers have been seen them proselytizing and provoking arguments with passerbys in places like Times Square in New York. So they talk here about the viral video with the Covington thing, and that's not exactly relevant here. And then they talk to a guy at George Washington University program on extremism, and then they show people from Dimona, which is not really relevant at all. But, again, the news is what it is. And so I'm not going to go into all this because it's not really, really very relevant. But you see the stuff that was relevant that we read. Now, I got other stuff I'm going to show, but again, they raided the ICGGC offices directly after this happened. They didn't raid every camp. Faithful, my man, you want to comment? I'm going to go to some other news articles, and I'd love to hear what you got to say, bro. Are you active in the live chat? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, a little bit in the live chat.
Well, you want to say anything, bro? Are you? I don't know if you're able to hear anything I was saying.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty clear that you researched this very well, that it wasn't something that you did on the fly, and that essentially the other side is misrepresenting you because they can't really deal with anything that you're presenting. So the best course of action is to simply misrepresent you, strawman what you said, because that's what certain folks on that side like to do a lot. And more particularly, it's ironic because even when you're making distinctions between the groups, between camps and non-camps, you notice that it's been the case a lot of the time that the non-camp side will still try to find a way to attack you even when you're making distinctions between them and the camps. It's very strange.
It's commercials playing here. I hate when they do commercials on here. All right, so here's 6ABC. This is another AP article, December 11, 2019. And notice the news even gave a little bit of love to the ISUPK. They granted an interview to the ISUPK for the ISUPK to condemn this and actually do this interview there and have this conversation to say, hey, we condemn this. But notice, again, in addition, authorities have found social media postings from at least one of the killers that were anti-police and anti-Jewish. Officials said the FBI on Wednesday searched our Harlem headquarters, the Israelite Church of Jesus Christ, which is the formal name of the Black Hebrew group, according to the official. A man who identifies himself as Commanding General Hannah, a.k.a. John Lightfoot, of a Hebrew Israelite school in Upper Darby, Pennsylvania, condemns Tuesday's killing spree in Jersey City. We are nonviolent, which, I'm sorry, I know what he's saying, but gosh, these guys are... Whatever. But notice, the point is, notice this, though. that the news even gave allowance for the ISUPK to clear their name. I mean, the media's got all kinds of problems. But you find some very interesting reporting going on here where they're even letting the ISUPK clear their name. Now, the ISUPK had nothing to do with this. They never affiliated either. But they granted Yohana this long interview, and they even aired it. I saw part of this interview, right? And look what he says here. Whoever it was, whoever these two people were who went out shooting people, they did not learn from us. And that seems to be true in the sense of they were not formally associated there. So I'm just bringing up another one to show that. Number one, they raided them, but at the same time, you have a situation where it was not the ICPK. So they're not even implicating all one Westers, and neither are we. Okay? Neither are we. Now, this is from abcnet.au. Shooting, you guys see this December 11th. This one is, I hate to revisit all this stuff, but we have to just show that, Richardson and those like him just don't do a very good job. I'm sorry, they just don't do a very good job of looking at it. This is so easy to find. If you wanted to find out if I was telling the truth about the affiliation with the ICGC, honestly, you could have just literally Googled David Anderson, ICGJC, and saw if there's anything you came up with, and then discern the sources yourself. But the problem is you guys don't know how to do that. It's so sad. But look, here it is again. It's all over. This is a different article. Ba 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 da 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 da. Okay. Okay. So there's another one. I'm gonna close that one down, and now here's where it's gonna get interesting. I hate the Daily Mail on the side. They have all these dumb ads, but we need to look at this. And Faithful, my man, feel free to chime in anytime. And also, Faithful, if you see any super chatters, will you please let me know? Because sometimes I miss them when I really get into this. But we are bringing out receipts. This is part of apologetics, is this kind of research. And Hebrew Israelites, you need to step your game up. You just need to step your game up. Slickly produced videos don't make up for your lack of research, okay? It just doesn't. Now, let's look. DailyMail.com. Now, let's look. Let's find out what's true and what's not here. Jersey City shooters attended anti-Semitic Black Israelite church in New York that holds 8-hour religious classes, headed by a priest busted for tax evasion after spending $5 million for members on personal expenses. Now, is that messed up? Yes, the headline is messed up, but also it's messed up that it's true. Now, I haven't heard about 8-hour classes. Maybe Faithful knows. I do know about day-long classes sometimes. But look at this. Look at this. David Anderson apparently visited Harlem's Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ up until at least 4 years ago. Now, again, sometimes they get a little sensational at the Daily Mail. They do. But even this sentence is careful. Look at what it says. Visited. No indication he was a member, but he's still affiliated and linked, learning from them. Up at least until 4 years ago. So about 4 years ago is when he was, or so is when he was going there. Now look at this, ladies and gentlemen. The superintendent of the building said he last saw them 4 years ago, as Anderson has been jailed twice during that time. The super of the building recognized Anderson. Now you can say this is all lies, but that's decent reporting, where what you do is you say, okay, can we find other confirmation? The super of the building may be someone who would know. They go to the super of the building. He gives confirmation. All right. Now, look at this. Now they talk about, here you go. They talk about what? They talk about the FBI carrying out bags to a storage truck Thursday. That's after they raided the headquarters there. But notice, even the NYPD, and I'm not a pro cop guy. If you listen to the show enough, I'm not saying I'm anti-cop like that, okay? I'm just saying that I am not a guy who always think they tell the truth and do the right thing. I'm not that guy, okay? But even the NYPD, look what they say. There are no recent acts of violence with the Black Israelite group in NYC, but they're monitoring with federal and state powers of Jersey. Meaning they're even saying, look, okay, so this is not just a smear campaign. It's trying to figure out what's going on. They attended the ICGJC, according to multiple news outlets. according to a law enforcement official who is a anonymous source. Now, this is how the reporting goes. Notice they say what it is, though. And also, they quote the super of the building. Okay. Let's read what Clarence Parks Jr. So this is a name now. Okay? I've seen him here, Superintendent Clarence Parks Jr. told the New York Post on Thursday. I've seen him lining up outside to go inside the church. I've seen her too. So notice he knows kind of their little routine. Says this, and look what he says. But he said it had been years since he'd seen Anderson. How did he know that? Who was jailed for 2 years for firearms possession, then again for a dispute with a woman he met online. The last time I saw him here was about 4 years ago, Park 61 said. I think he got locked up a couple of times and then I never saw him again. That's exactly right. That is what happened to him. He couldn't remember the last time he saw Graham at the church, which pays $30,000 rent. Whoa! I can't believe the superintendent told that information. I actually didn't catch this at first. Whoa, ladies and gentlemen. According to the super, the ICJJC pays $30K a month for their spot on Madison. Whoa. That's some serious cash, first of all. Notice, though, this is the super. We've been to this building. Me and a couple of other brothers went there last summer and ate at the lower level. Well, that was the one west. Okay, that was one west. But we've been to the original location of the school, one west. But we've also been outside the building. There's a video where you see us confronting kindly but aggressively the ICGC. Oh, looks like we're having trouble here with the stream. Okay, looks like our quality is slowing down. Computer's doing too much. So you may get a 720 or 480 resolution now. But this is important information. Notice how in-depth this is. Now, I didn't want to do this in my little 13-minute video. But here we are doing it. The churches, okay, this is just about their money problems, which is true. Friends of Graham said Anderson introduced her to the anti-Semitic group and that they'd been heard talking about religious stuff. So Graham seemed to be a normal woman prior to this, basically, until she got under the bad influence by Anderson. And friends were shocked that she was involved with this. And if you even watch the video, you notice how hesitant she is to get out of the truck. You can see the security cam video. She's very hesitant when she follows in him, where he strides in ready to go. It's very interesting to watch the body language even through the grainy footage, because I really went through this again and again and again. Now, some of this we've already read, okay, from previous things, but then we got some new stuff as well. Okay, so I'm not going to repeat all of this, but you know, it sounds like what vocab was saying in the video is very highly sourced, and it's insane that that Richardson and other Hebrewites think playing a little clip by the AG, the Attorney General, is going to throw off everything, you know, just at the click of a button. Now, here's the New York Post. They can be sensational too sometimes, but I like them in that they're willing to cover sometimes things that others aren't willing to cover. Jersey City shooters attended Black Israelite Church in NYC, December 12th, 2019, by Georgette Roberts. Let's take a look at this. The Jersey City killers were repeatedly seen attending an anti-Semitic Black Hebrew Israelite church in Harlem, the Post has learned. Now, you can say, oh, I don't like that language. Okay, get through the language and find out if there's evidence from eyewitnesses, because there is. I get it that they use loaded language, okay? That's kind of what the Post does, okay? I get it. You kind of know what you're getting with them. Doesn't mean they're not talking to real people, though. Immediately recognized photos of Anderson and Francine Graham in news coverage of their Tuesday rampage. I've seen him here. All right, you see this? Da-da-da, 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 and that's them. Da-da-da, da-da-da. All right. Okay, so the Post appears to be the source of it. I want to show you how it's... Now, this is from neighbors, by the way. They talk to neighbors as well. Talk to all kinds of people. They talk to someone at the door of the church there, of course. And they also talk about what the FBI did. Okay, the New York Times has something we're not going to show. Even the who was it? The Jersey, the state of New Jersey, like law enforcement put this out after this happened. This little PDF file you can download. It's called, Black Separatist Extremists. It's unclassified. Threat to New Jersey, moderate. And they give the example of Anderson and Graham. And so here's a little paragraph here. See this? And, this is kind of a summary sentence there. And this is a little terrorism threat assessment the government does. Notice they're just saying moderate. Hebrew Israelites, especially the One West variety, they like to act like they're sort of the center of the universe in relationship to this, but that's not the case. And this is going to be the last thing I'm going to show here as far as this goes before I play some never seen before footage from Anderson's social media. Now, I know people are going to hate on the ADL. I don't agree with everything the ADL does, but the question is what they're saying true? Let's find out. Let's find out here. All right. This was very helpful for us. These two things that the ADL provided in this article. Using this information, because we were looking up David Anderson and stuff like that. This username was very helpful. As soon as the ADL brought this out, Dawada Makwabath, which is a Lashawan Quadash name, obviously. As soon as we saw that, we went all over looking, and we found exactly what they were talking about. Shortly after we found it, after this article dropped, it got deleted by Facebook. It literally disappeared as we were downloading videos. We did not get everything there because of this, which is unfortunate. I don't get why they do that. It's not like it's very helpful for researchers to have access to this, but they did it. And we found this Instagram account with a username Barryon, and the handle was AKA Napoleon One Hit. Now, I don't know how they knew this, but when I went on, I instantly recognized it was David Anderson. And one key thing was facial tattoos that identified him. Okay, so the reason I'm showing this ADL article is very important for us to be able to find other social media handles that were not previously disclosed by that before then. Faithful, you want to add something to that, my man?
No, I just pretty much wanted to say, this right here is evidence that, again, you did your due diligence in researching this topic. It wasn't something that you just did on the fly. I know this firsthand because you and I talked behind the scenes when you were putting all of this together. So it's very ironic to see Hebrew Israelites misrepresenting you simply because you disagree with many of their claims and because you disagree with their primary claim of the whole identity doctrine. They feel the need to try to slander you, to try to misrepresent you, and it speaks volumes about the disingenuousness that comes out from many proponents on that side, because we're not implicating everybody on that side for the mistakes of one or two or for various people. We do make distinctions. Unfortunately, we would ask that people on the Hebrew Israelite side learn nuance and caveat when interacting with us, instead of doing the very thing to us that they accuse us of doing to them.
No, that's exactly right. And notice, Richardson and others like him, little kind of silly, kind of almost trite, frivolous video with really no work being done here versus this multiple receipts. And I'm not even showing you everything. When we show something, usually there's more behind the surface, but we're not trying to do 4-hour things all the time. But if they're gonna want us to pull it out and they want to call, then okay, let's go. Now, there's not going to be a proper response by anyone in the Hebrew Israelite community to this live stream. I guarantee it. To anyone who's complained about us to this point is what I'm saying. It's not going to be substantive if they do respond. In the live chat, I guarantee there's no substance criticism that really gets at really what we're doing here, which is parsing things out, getting careful. And again, say what you want about the ADL. Nobody did such a good job as tracking down the social media. They've got rap songs by the dude. We played some of those, which talks about, going out, basically. We found the SoundCloud because of this. This is very helpful. Now, it's such a shame these social media companies destroy this before it's done. However, I'm going to show you a few things that we managed to get before they destroyed it. The first thing I'm going to show here is actually a little screen sharing video of David Anderson's YouTube account that we shortly found after this. You guys ready? We're not letting up. Here we go.
This is a really quick and preliminary look at the YouTube account of David Anderson, who was recently implicated in the shooting in Jersey City. He didn't have any videos of his own uploaded, but he had created several playlists, and I think they speak to his interests and his influences.
So this is a boo. He made a little video, which I don't even know if he even aired this at all anywhere ever. But David Anderson didn't have any of his own videos, but he did have videos that he had created playlists of. And so you get an idea of what he's all about. Michael Jordan, 23, Illuminati, into conspiracy theories. Bob Marley, heathen. And I'll let Faithful break that down if he wants to. And will the real Israelites please stand up? Now, I'm going to show you this. There's about a minute and 30 seconds left of this. So we are really breaking stuff down here. We're really showing you stuff you haven't seen anywhere on the news. You just haven't seen anywhere. And so we're bringing this out. This is what you got to do when you go deep into cult research, okay? And, you know, Faithful and Abu know more than I do. I'm just part of a process, part of a team, part of a squad. But we're taking care of business here. All right, here we go.
Quick side note, if one notices that he has a playlist titled Bob Marley Heathen, although some Israelites do call Bob Marley a heathen, a non-Israelite, that's not what he was doing. Instead, that references Bob Marley's 1977 song titled Heathen. But anyway, the playlist that I want to focus in on is the one that's titled Will the Real Hebrews Please Stand Up? And I'll click on it here. Now, as far as I can see, none of the videos in this playlist date to after 2014. So the playlist...
Again, notice, in a lot of ways, he seems to have went dark after 2014. He stopped showing up at the ICGJC around that time, it appears, and almost all of his social media was no longer updated after 2014. The YouTube account bears the same marks as far as his online activity. And even the YouTube comments, generally speaking, are dated to there, for whatever reason. Here we go.
Is about 5 years old, maybe more than 5 years old, and several of the videos are significantly older than that.
I watched almost all the videos in his playlist, by the way, to try to understand better what he was all about. I watched almost all of them. So I really got an idea of what he was intaking, what he wanted to make a favorite playlist of.
He did have an interest in Israelite topics, and more specifically, One West related Israelite topics. He was influenced by One West related Israelite videos. That makes up the majority of the videos in this playlist. For example, the UPK, the Black Kings account, is an ISUPK account, or at least that particular video titled...
And I just stop there. I'm not saying it's Johanna's fault that this man made a playlist with ISUPK stuff in here. But notice, Johanna says he didn't learn anything from us. There's a paraphrase of what he said, but he said he didn't learn from us. Well, actually, Johanna, he did learn something from you. He did learn something from you guys. It's all the big same One West melting pot, even though we're laying the blame at his feet. Not even laying the blame at the ICGJC. He did learn something from Johanna and the UPK.
Historical proof Hitler said real Jews were black, or is it was an ISUPK video.
Tart 70, my mods might be putting you on timeout, and they might block you. I'm not looking at all your comments, but the mods are going to be on you. By the way, I want to tell everybody real quick, no one can boss the mods around except for me. So to the people in the live chat, you can't tell my mods, oh, block this person, do that. Now, you can draw something to their attention, and if they use their discernment and think this person should be X, Y, Z, whatever, then that's their discretion. But if you put too much pressure, like you try to boss the mods around, they might as well put you on timeout. I am the only one who can boss my mods around, and the reason is because I am the world's best boss.
Then we see a couple of videos from GOCC. Then there's the...
Ain't that wild? This man even thought the videos by the moderate milquetoast, supposedly, GOCC camp were worthy of being in his playlist. I'm just saying.
This boy dies for 3 minutes video on the Saints of Yahushai account, which is
Saints of Yahushai. Who is that? Abu, tell us.
One West account. And then the last
IUIC Queens Camp. Now, IUIC, they put out actually a statement, what's called a splash page. I think Saints of Yahushai, isn't that the guys in London? I'm not sure if it is or not, but check this out. IUIC. Now, IUIC put out a splash page. That's where you first hit the website, and it goes splashes. You can't get away from it, saying, we're not affiliated. We condemn this, when it went down. I get it. They're about image. But notice, out of all the camps he's most influenced by, as far as who he is influenced by, it's IUIC Queens.
One West account. And then the last 13 videos of the playlist are all from the IUIC Queens Camp
The
account.
last 13 videos.
Now, as a disclaimer, I hope it goes without saying that I'm not saying that these groups are culpable in the crime that he committed. I certainly don't think that GOCC or IUIC should be considered culpable in his crime. Nonetheless, I'm just showing what some of his
By the way, I missed a few super chatters. Nate, can you remind me who I left out? Paul P. Paul P. We left out Paul P. Shout out to you. There. And who else did we skip? Paul P. hit us up again. See where'd it go? I thought there was somebody else I missed in the super chat. Man, you guys are wilding out in the super chat. How many people do we have watching this thing? There's a ton of you people going crazy up in here. Yeah. I guess so. All right, let me play the rest of this little Abu thing. And notice even Abu's being careful. We're nice guys with these Hebrew Israelites. And even though, they're not so nice to, with us, we're still going to be nice to you. We love you guys. Yeah. Yeah. They've told me so, and they stand against it, and they're willing to go on record criticizing it. Now, I have my problems with IOG. We all know that. But we're not about besmirching or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is. So continue on here. Let's play this. There's only a couple seconds left.
Were there was a clear general One West influence on the man, at least up to about 5 years ago.
That's true. Now, Faithful, are you ready for this? What's about to happen here?
Uh-oh.
I have 3 videos by David Anderson himself. I do not know.
It's about to get real in here.
I do not know. Yes, I do not know if this show is going to get taken down because we're airing these. I don't know kind of how that works. I hope not. I think it's important for historical purposes. They are all very short. They certainly are going to make it where this video is not going to be allowed to be monetized because he swears in them. And the video will not be able to be monetized because of the way and what he says, okay? So I already know that. I'm hoping, I'm hoping, though, it's not going to get taken down. These 3 videos are not the only videos that we found on his Facebook page. But I kid you not, and I've told the story a number of times, it's just I'm still not over how shocked I was by it. Literally, as we were downloading the videos, as we were downloading the videos from his Facebook account, the account disappeared. I was on the phone with one guy, and I had his account up in my hand. and it was no longer on the screen. And I was like, wait, what? And I went back and it was gone. I could not find it anymore. The account I was just on because I saw the ADL article, which, again, say whatever you will with the ADL. I criticized them for some of their vague generalities and misunderstanding Hebrew Israelism earlier, but I also gave them credit for the level of research they did more than anything else I saw in regards to his social media accounts.
If I could just chime in.
Go ahead.
If I could just chime in very quickly.
And then I'm going to let you do this and say whatever you want because we're going to play these 3 videos, and you've never seen these before either, to my knowledge.
Right.
They're all very short, and this is the only time we have this about him, as I know. Go ahead, bro.
Do you recall that David Anderson had some music where he was using Lashawan Kodash?
Yep.
And he was promoting the Hebrew Israelite doctrine of the camps. Gotta be very careful. You know, it's like walking on eggshells with a lot of these cats. That he was promoting a lot of that stuff because I believe you played it in one of the first live streams that you did on this topic.
I did. I played it. He sounded a bit like Tupac, and there's parts where he talked about going out, you know, in a blaze of glory with guns and stuff like that. You know, I mean, you know, he was about that life. You know, and that's what he did. It's a shame. You know, 2 souls are no longer with us. Well, actually more, but I'm just talking about Graham and Anderson. Now, granted, they were the perps, not victims, but they were deceived. Okay. These videos are all very short. These are from David Anderson's Facebook account. You guys ready for this? Here we go.
This is my damn city. See this shit? Shit is fucked up. Look at this trash on the ground. This is where I live right here, right? But there goes the church right there. Wow, unbelievable. Hold up. There goes another one right there. Come on, man. Am I wrong? Am I retarded? I don't think so. I don't think so. Hold on, there goes another one at the corner. Hold on, look at this. 3 churches. But there's a liquor store right here. Nobody owns. And there goes another church right there. You see it right there. Wow, with the parking lot next to it. Unbelievable. Wait a minute. Oh my goodness, here goes another one on the corner of 17th Street. 4 freaking churches. 4 churches, but look at this shit. Look at this shit. This is where we live though. Trash overflowing, bro, right? This is where we live, man. If you can only smell the fucking air through the phone, you'd be like, wow. Unfucking believable. This is where we live, right? But everybody, we got 4 churches on 1 block. 1 fucking block. But look where we at. Look at this shit. You kidding me? Unfucking believable, man. Unbelievable. The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead. Absolutely. Let me save my battery. We got more to see.
All right, Faithful, were you able to hear that or no? Faithful, I don't know if you're able to hear the clip.
I was saying, yeah, I could hear it faintly on my end.
Right.
I don't know if the audience could hear it, but I heard it faintly on my end.
Yeah, well, it's different for you. Everybody can hear it on theirs. I see people responding to what he said. So this one is sideways. The other one's he's going to show his face, and you're going to be able to match the voice with it.
Right.
This one, Sam Miguel's
lest
in
they
house.
accuse you of saying, oh, well, he only showed video of some random guy and there's some voice. How do we know that's him? You know?
This one is outward facing because the whole point of the video is what he's saying is to show, you know. Now this one is also sideways, you know what I'm saying, whatever. But I'm gonna show another one where he shows his face. So the point here with this video is he's saying, I'm walking around my neighborhood and here's churches. Now look at all this trash. Now somebody kind of made a funny point. If you care so much, Isaiah Braxton says, why not do something about it? You know, it's kind of, you know, it's like he's just taking a video of it. I don't really think that helps the problem. Naruto says this David Anderson guy was disturbed for sure. Phyllis says, now I didn't know about this. That's interesting. I live in Phoenix. I didn't know anything about this. Phyllis says cities have websites to report garbage. Basically saying the Christian is responsible for these problems. All right, we got that. Man, the chat's moving so quick. I'm having basically says he's a fault finder. Salt Lake City guy says it's his city, then he should hire people to clean it. I mean, you know, I'm just saying it's odd. Like he's the Hebrew Israelite himself. What's the, you know, what? I mean, churches are in bad neighborhoods sometimes, and it doesn't, you know, they don't fix. They don't. Everything doesn't magically be fixed, by them. But here we go. Yeah, so people did hear it. Some people are saying, well, clean it up then. San Miguel says, wow, this guy is vulgar. I thought I cursed too much. Yeah, not exactly somebody you want as a neighbor. I know. Isaiah Braxton says, right here in my state. Well, I mean, to be honest, New York is kind of this way as well. I've been in New York City. I was shocked how dirty the city was. Phoenix is a relatively clean city. It's a bit dusty. So it's kind of like, whatever. San Miguel says, I pick up trash in my neighborhood all the time. And then, I'm just, so people heard it. Let me play this one more time, and then we're going to play the next one because it's kind of short. But you get the vibe of Anderson by this. Now, again, this video has never been seen before, except by people who initially saw it on his Facebook.
This is my damn city. But there goes the church right there. Wow, unbelievable. Hold up. There goes another one right there. Come on, man. Am I wrong? Am I retarded? I don't think so. I don't think so. Hold on, there goes another one at the corner. Hold on, look at this. 3 churches. But there's a liquor store right here. A bunch of clothes. Here goes another one on the corner of 17th Street. 4 freaking churches. 4 churches, but look at this shit. Look at this shit. This is where we live, though. Trash overflowing, bro, right? This is where we live, man. If you can only smell the fucking air through the phone, you'd be like, wow. Unfucking believable. This is where we live, right? But everybody, we got 4 churches on one block. One fucking block. But look where we at. Look at this shit. You kidding me? Unfucking believable, man. Unbelievable. The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead. Absolutely. Let me save my battery. We got more to see.
So we could go 17th Street, I guess, in Jersey City, and you could actually kind of know exactly where he lived. Whatever. All right, next video by David Anderson. You all ready to see the next one? You get a flavor now of this guy. Here we go.
Right there, we got something called the Chosen Generation CFC. Then over there, we got something called the Haitian Church of God Unity. All these churches, all this false unity, all this Christianity. But look where we at. We in the hood with fiends, crackheads, dopeheads, drug dealers, murderers, rapists, robbers, prostitutes. Come on now. Come on. And if anybody's from Newark.
Now, it's funny. He's naming, all these people that he's saying are, a problem. Well, don't forget, David Anderson, murderers. You!
Understand that this area, Fabian Clinton, this is famous for prostitution and drugs. But how many churches did we just pass? Come on. This the same strip. Look, I ain't going nowhere. This the same fucking strip. I ain't lying.
So, same thing. Now, the next one is going to show his face, okay? Because I know people are still, I'm playing that one. Last. So, it looks like Fabian Clinton. Is that what he said? Let's see. Can someone... Fabian Clinton? Somebody maybe knows the what he was saying there. There is a place called Clinton, it looks like. So let's watch this one more time. The next one, they're all very short. So the same type of video. He's just complaining there about everything. Here we go.
Right there, we got something called the Chosen Generation CFC. Then over there, we got something called the Haitian Church of God Unity. All these churches, all this false unity, all this Christianity. But look where we at. We in the hood with fiends, crackheads, dopeheads, drug dealers, murderers, rapists, robbers.
Yeah, he did say murderers. How ironic. It's sad, but it's also just the hypocrisy. Murderers. Yeah, you, David Anderson.
Prostitutes. Come on now. Come on. And if anybody's from Newark, you understand that this area, Fabian...
Oh, Newark. That's what he said. Hey, Jay Google just looks like they found out exactly where it is. I love smart people on the internet. 808 Clinton Avenue, Newark, New Jersey. Now, I've never been to Newark, but I know a little bit about it. One of my favorite hip-hop groups of all time, used to always talk about it, Lords of the Underground, Brick City, Newark. And Man, I used to love them, man. And then also, there's a couple other hip hop groups from Newark, New Jersey, but they were like really my favorite one. That would really talk about a lot, Lords of Underground. But anyways, continuing on here. I mean, Redman's from there as well, if I'm not mistaken. Redman, good old Redman. Thank you, Jay Google, for the CFC church address.
This is famous for prostitution and drugs. But how many churches did we just pass? Come on, this the same strip. Look, I ain't going nowhere. This the same fucking strip. I ain't lying.
I don't really know what he's saying there. Basic says, I know where that is. Rogan Black says, LOTUG. Oh, got some tick tock. This is how we rock. Throw your hands in the air and do it for your block. Tick tock. This is how we rock. Throw your hands in the air and do it for your block. Of course, everybody knows. Number one chief rocker. What goes up must come down, but not me, clown. Oh man, it's too much, man. The year is 1971. Funky Child. Don't. Okay, I can carry away. Stop it. Okay. So whatever, you guys know what I'm talking about. All right, so I don't know if that's a thing now, but what is it with all the Hebrews like to always say, wow? Wow. Is that just a thing? I feel like I run into a lot of Hebrews who say that, because in the first video, do you guys catch that? He's like, wow. I don't know, man. So, you see this criticism of the church, this bitterness, this anger, and then somebody made a point. His solution is to murder Jews. Okay? Comment so far before we play the last video.
People for murder, right? While criticizing people for murder, he then decides to murder people because, consistency and stuff,
Oh, Connor Terrible. Now we're trying to find out we're trying to get the silver lining out of this whole thing. Says Newark is also home to Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, one of the best groups of all time. Sherry, baby, Sherry, baby, Sherry. You guys know that song? Or you guys know Walk Like a Man? That's a dope one. Or Big Girls Don't Cry. Doom, doo-dum, doo-dum. And then when they got into the other stage, oh, what a night. That was the latest stage on. And what else did they have there? What's another famous? There's a couple I'm missing. Yo, Frankie Valli was dope. They got that movie called Jersey Boys or whatever it's called. Now I got a lot of cursing and stuff, but that's still dope, man. You can't Frankie Valli. Frankie Valli had a little part in the
You got no. See, this is
Sopranos. Yeah.
Jake.
Say what?
No, see, he was a Jake.
He's a Jake. Well, they were all Sicilian, I believe. I believe the Four Seasons were all Sicilian. At least Frankie Valli. Now I don't know if it's mom and dad, full blooded. They look at all that.
Tahar's like, yeah. See, he was a Jake. All of them
probably, yeah. I mean, they had some soul. They had some style. Come on, you can't sleep on. Paul P says falsetto for the win. All right. Well, anyways, with all that being said, here we go. Shout out to Cherry Love in the house. All right, here's the last video where we do get to see Anderson's face. All right, you guys ready? 3, 2, 1.
Shalom, Yasharala. I'm gonna make this brief. In light of everything that's going on nowadays, I want to tell all you men of Israel, you need to watch your gates. We are watchmen.
Wait, vocab, stop
We need to stop spending our money on foolishness.
Can you
Real
just stop
quick,
it right there,
Bakwash
please?
Israel. I know Wow was like saying that, but I just think it's interesting that so many Hebrews like to say that. Is all I was saying. But I got you. Thanks. Shout out to you for that.
Can you rewind that? Because I want the audience to check where he says shalom.
Yeah, break it down why that matters, homie.
Yeah, if you could rewind it.
No, I'm saying why is that relevant to the audience? I agree.
Okay. It is relevant because the phrase shalom is the camp way of saying shalom or peace in Hebrew.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. Sorry. All right, here we go.
Shalom, Yasharala.
Oh, two other things I want to point out. Number one, notice the same facial tattoo that Anderson had. Number two, my man Faithful said Shalom. So that we all know that. That's facts. He also said Yasharala. That's Israel. We all know that as well. Shout out to Brother George, another former Hebrew Israelite One Wester in the live chat as well.
Israel and the fraudulent dialect.
Yeah, and the Lashwan Quadash. And one other proof, very important, how we know he was the Hebrew Israelite, because in his video, his fire alarm, the smoke alarm batteries need to be changed. Further proof he was definitely a Hebrew Israelite. Because how many videos have you seen, Faithful, where the Hebrew Israelite person
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You're going to get in trouble with that one, vocab. See, there goes vocab. He's saying that we're all the same because of the fire detector.
Yo, I cannot tell you how many Israelite videos I see where somebody needs to change that daggone smoke alarm, man. I'm going to buy a pack of 9-volt batteries. And every time I go out to the corner and talk to the cancer, I'm like, here you go, bruh. Let me hit you off real quick. Break you off. Because I know you need this. Because I've seen enough of your videos with the chirps in the back that I know these 9 volts are going to bless your soul, bro. Let me bless the block right now. Chip, chip, chip. So further proof, he is definitely a Hebrew Israelite. He's got the chirp in the background from the smoke detector. I'm sorry. Oh, they're going to be so mad.
By the way, vocab is being sarcastic right now. Oh, well, you can't use sarcasm, vocab, because apparently, whatever.
We
just
so
forget
mad.
that Elijah wasn't mocking the prophets of Baal, but
Yeah,
whatever.
I can see Kelly Richards' next video. Here is vocab Malone mocking a man who is disturbed mentally. And by this, we can see that vocab Malone likes to make fun of mentally ill people. And that's why this video is called Vocab Malone Mocks a Mentally Challenged Man. That's Kelly Richards' next video. Hey, why did Homeboy talk so slow in that video? Did you notice that, Faithful? That dude was parsing out his words as if each one was $1 million. We see now that this man, like, what is going on? Who speaks like that? Anyway, sorry, man. All right, let me play this Anderson video. In all seriousness, we try to have fun on here. Some of y'all ain't feeling it. Sorry, you got the wrong show. But we doing the real research, too. We're doing that research. That's right. Every Hebrew Israelite from now on I see, I'm going to give a free book and a free 9-volt. All right, here we go.
Shalom, Yasharala. I'm going to make this brief. In light of everything that's going on nowadays, I want to tell all you men of Israel, you need to watch your gates. We are watchmen. We need to stop spending our money on foolishness and spend our money on security. I want you to take a look at this. It doesn't cost a whole lot to get you a security camera.
Ironically, a security camera would capture some of Anderson's last moments in November of 2019, in all seriousness.
And use your television as a monitor instead of watching MTV Raps and other bullshit, because our people are dying at an alarming rate. The Most High told us to be watchmen. He meant that in a spiritual and a physical sense. All right? Doesn't take much. If you truly care about your family, you'll do that. That's it. I ain't got nothing else to say. If there's anything else, I'll incriminate myself. Believe me, I'll pull security around here. Stand to. Stand down.
What do we think is being said by this video? Obviously, I saved this one for last for a reason.
Can I say it?
Go ahead, my man.
A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
Did you hear him say, believe me, I pull security around here? And then he said, if there's anything else, I'll incriminate myself. Shout out to my man San Miguel for the super chat. He says he's waiting for a 9-volt battery. Yeah. And that's why he gave $9.99. You know, we love San Miguel. He's a good-spirited brother, man. We love him around these parts, man. I'm glad we can have a somewhat cordial relationship because I think that's a good thing, man. You know, everybody ain't got to think exactly like us. We can talk it out. I want to play this one more time. Faithful, maybe you can, I don't know, put headphones on, go to the side or something. I feel like you should hear what he's saying here in this video. Because I know you're saying you weren't able to hear. I really feel like you should like maybe rewind that part and hear what he's saying in this spot. The other weren't really that important. It was just him complaining about the Christian churches and there's trash in the area. Right. This one though, Faithful, I feel like you might want to hear because I feel like if you can, I don't know if you're able to go to the side, rewind that part because I want to play this again.
I got it right now.
All right. So here we go. I want to play this again, everybody, one last time, and then we'll get Faithful's comment on this. And I do have more I could show, but at some point we're going to end the show, and I'm gonna get a feel of the audience here. Listen to David Anderson, clearly a Hebrew Israelite, clearly a One Wester, and clearly with tendencies that are unhealthy. We've already established past links with the ICJJC, and now here are these videos, which have never been shown. You know, we're doing our research, man. Let's play this here. One more time.
Shalom, Yasharala. I'm going to make this brief. In light of everything that's going on nowadays, I want to tell all you men of Israel, you need to watch your gates. We are watchmen. We need to stop spending our money on foolishness and spend our money on security. I want you to take a look at this. It doesn't cost a whole lot to get you a security camera and use your television as a monitor instead of watching MTV Raps and other bullshit, because our people are dying at an alarming rate. The Most High told us to be watchmen. He meant that in a spiritual and a physical sense. All right? Doesn't take much. If you truly care about your family, you'll do that. That's it. I ain't got nothing else to say. If there's anything else, I'll incriminate myself. Believe me, I'll pull security around here. Stand to. Stand down.
If there's anything else, I'll incriminate myself. Believe me, I pull security around here. To the person commenting on his personal appearance, mods, just so you know, we don't really do that here. So whoever that was, I'm going to time you out. I realize you may be a supporter or whatever, but you're not going to mock the guy's personal appearance. We're not going to do that here.
We don't play that around.
So time you out, but I do want to show one thing, and I'm going to let you comment, Faithful, but I want to put this on the screen before it slips me. This is exactly what we're talking about. They talk about don't do guilt by association and all this. And here comes Dark Son El Bay and says, every one of the mount of Esau shall be cut off by slaughter. Every single one, no matter how much you mock, scoff, or slander. By the way, that's not a Bible verse. That's their own like kind of little paraphrase there that they're trying to draw from. What's he saying, though? He's saying, everyone who I perceive as being white will all be killed. Notice he's saying because we're mocking, scoffing, and slandering. By the way, Dark Son El Bay, we don't know who you are. We can't see your face. We don't know. Here I am. I'm out front and center.
Dark Son El Bay. That sounds like a Moorish, like one of those.
Because of Bay.
Moorish Science Temple. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoever Dark Son is, though, they're clearly confused because they're also about the Edomite doctrine and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But let me just say to you, you're a liar. No one is slandering anyone on here. We've shown and fact-checked everything and corrected ourselves if we made any mistakes. Mocking and scoffing, look, we're criticizing your doctrine. And it's weird that you're coming against us. I'm curious, are you upset with what David Anderson did? Do you disagree with it? I doubt it, because here you are saying, hey, you're going to get slaughtered. for mocking, but you're not even saying mock. You're saying you get slaughtered just for being of Esau. First of all, ain't nobody worried about being from Esau because I'm not from Esau, okay? Who knows, Dark Son, Elbe? You might be from Esau, right? You don't really know. But this kind of nonsense, you're basically trying to say in your own way, all you white people are going to get killed. That's what you're trying to say. This is the point. One Westism promotes this kind of thing. You have a bloodlust. You want to see people die. You're a murderer in your heart, just like David Anderson. Go ahead, my man Faithful. Bring up what you got to say, my man.
Listening to what David Anderson said in that video was telling. Number one, he says that we're getting killed at an alarming rate while he himself engaged in an act which ultimately cost his life and the life of the person that he was with, right? The woman he was with. Where was the black love from his end when he went in there to shoot up a bunch of people? Doesn't the Bible tell us in Romans 12, if he was really consistent in that doctrine, because I'll say this, as deplorable as the camp doctrine is, at the very least, they'll tell their members, we're not going to do anything now. That's going to come in the future when the Most High gives us the power and we're going to destroy these people, et cetera, right? It's interesting that the camps, at the very least, caveat what they're saying by making it something, eschatological, something that's going to occur in the future. Essentially, we're going to have the power in the future, in the kingdom, to destroy people, whatever the case may be, rule over our enemies, et cetera, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Yet here you have this gentleman who was influenced by the camps, but he figured, nah, I'm not going to wait till the future. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go ahead and take vengeance into my hands now. But doesn't Romans 12 tell you vengeance is of the Lord and he will repay? Mm-hmm. So if you truly believe that doctrine, if you actually believe that doctrine, shouldn't you be heeding those words and leaving it in the hands of the Lord? Because that's what the camps, ironically enough, all things considered, as deplorable as their doctrines are, at the very least, they say that vengeance is of the Lord. They can't do anything right now. They're not in power, that sort of thing. Whatever, craziness that they conjure up in their mind based on the distorted view of the scriptures. But needless to say, at least they'll say, we're not going to do acts of violence because, one, that's not in we're not in a position to do it anyways. It's not in our power right now. But this guy was like, no, I'm going to go ahead and take basically actions into my own hands or matters into my own hands and kill a bunch of people that I don't really know, while having videos like this that bear witness against himself, where he's talking about dying, African Americans dying at an alarming rate, while he himself was a victim of the very violence that he himself perpetuated on other people. He ended up dying because of the violence that he tried to enact on others, while telling others and talking about upliftment. Where was the upliftment in that? It's very telling.
Yeah, and sad and tragic. Phyllis, I'm going to time you out. We don't make those kind of comments here. And I think Hindu Historian already got timed out for that. Okay, so just checking on that. All right, Faithful. I have a couple of pictures I think I'm going to show of Anderson that I don't think were shown before.
Can I
bring those up? Would you like to comment anything?
Yeah. So someone in the live chat named Tart70 says it sounded like he talked about security, which is typical for people who talk about self-defense. But here's the problem, Tart. The problem is that David Anderson took vengeance into his own hands, or what he perceived to be vengeance into his own hands, and caused his life to be taken and the life of someone else to be taken. I can tell you this right now. Revelation 20:15 will be his final fate, if in that moment he didn't repent, which I highly doubt he did. And it is indicative of what we've been saying this whole time. The poison of the One West doctrine infected the ideas of David Anderson to the point where he acted upon those very ideas. He took them to their conclusion. by basically saying, no, I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to, if we're going to have power, hey, I might as well just do it now since we're going to have power anyways.
Mm-hmm.
That's a dangerous ideology. Now, I'm going to say not all One Westers share that viewpoint, obviously, because they're constantly being very cautious in letting their members know that, to engage in that sort of vigilante activity. They'll tell their members, no, we can't do that. They'll actually tell their members to abide by the law. So I'm going to give One Westers that. Most reasonable One Westers try to dissuade their members from doing stuff like that. But David Anderson took it to its conclusion, though. And that's why we believe that the ideology of the camps is dangerous, especially when it's in the hands of somebody unhinged like a David Anderson, who's willing to take it to its conclusion. And to be honest, the reason why it's dangerous is not because we believe the camps are right. We absolutely believe they are wrong, and they have a distorted understanding of Scripture. Hence why we make videos like this to expose the falsehood of the camps. And that falsehood, unfortunately, is also trickling down onto the non-campers. It's just, it's a reality of what it is.
And again, I don't really understand why Kelly Richardson wants to basically defend David Anderson, or at the very least, defend ICGJC, or defend One West ideology. Now, look here. These are some of the profiles that we had uncovered. There's his Facebook profile, which last I checked is no longer available. The Wad Maccabee, David Maccabee, which a lot of times you see that means they're the violent type of dude because they want to model themselves after Maccabee. They're an understanding of it there. And you see there Newark, New Jersey. That's his Facebook. And then you see November 2016. So he was active a little bit later there on this Instagram profile. You see that Instagram profile there. And so these are some other pictures of Anderson. Now you can tell obviously by this one right here that he was obviously Hebrew Israelite. I mean, you guys see this on the screen. I got a couple more. I'm not going to show everything I have, but we're kind of just hammering home the point and show Kelly Richardson and those who have tried to attack us on the point on this issue don't know what they are talking about. And here now, this is this other picture here of him as well. This is the one. Now I've removed the background on this one. And so it's but this is one I had downloaded as well.
This is from his Facebook, correct?
Yeah, I believe this is from his Facebook. This is the one that was on the thumbnail there. You see Dave Anderson there, and there he's got, you guys can see.
Can I just say this too, just to be on record? We believe in the Lord's justice. We believe in the Lord having righteous judgment. But that judgment and justice belongs to him and him alone. And he is the one who has the authority to execute it.
Mm-hmm.
It is not for unrighteous, unregenerate men such as this or anyone else to try to execute the Lord's judgment or justice in the way that David Anderson tried to execute it. Because David Anderson did not know the Messiah of Scripture. He was not regenerate in his heart, clearly had hatred. Remember what Christ said in Mark 7 when he talks about what is in the heart? That's what defiles a person, and what comes out of the heart? Murders. David Anderson simply acted on what was already in his heart.
And a lot of Hebrew Israelite doctrine appeals to people who have murder in their heart. Straight up. Some people were saying, brother looks like Andre 3000. Here's a screenshot from his YouTube page that I got a hold of that we actually saw a video there. You can see some of these playlists here. And so that's actually it. You can see that there. And you, at that time, were actually even able to see some of his comments he had left. Now, unfortunately, almost all this stuff has been scrubbed. I don't know, these social media, they do that all the time. It's the dumbest thing. Once they discover it, they get rid of it. It's like, that's not very helpful, because it's like, I don't know, they want to they don't want the person to be glorified, or they don't want their ideology to continue to spread. But it's like, it's helpful for research purposes. I wish they would understand that, or at least somehow give some of us, I don't know, access to this after they scrub it or something. It's just, it seems so counterintuitive. The person's already dead. What more can they do? It helps to understand these situations and do this. And so we're just showing some of this stuff here. I'm going to show one other I got here. What is this? I forget what this is. This is from a picture he took or something. I'm trying to remember. I have some stuff. I forget. Oh, okay. I know what that's from. That's where he shot up. It's just showing the schools beside there. That was from something else. I was going to make the point about the school, but I didn't really get into that here. Last thing I'm going to show is actually the security camera footage from Anderson himself. And I want to show this and blow this up a little bit. We've already made a point of this because San Miguel first pointed it out. But when you look at the security camera footage, and this is a screenshot I took because it specifically kind of showed this. Look very close, everybody. And if you look, what do you see? What is on his head? It's almost
let me see.
It looks like he's got the head wrap on. It's almost certain he's got the head wrap on. And so I just drawing that point out that it seems like he went to do this final act dressed as a Hebrew Israelite. It's almost certain. And San Miguel pointed out about the garment. Look, those aren't pants. No one's pants go down to their knees. If you look at it, it's obvious at the knees, it's the garment. He's got a wrap and a garment. We can't see exactly. We didn't get photos of all that stuff. But what we do have, he went to his death wearing the camp garments. That's significant. By the way, that's part of the way they would have known he's a Hebrew Israelite. Between the notes and all this stuff, and they find him dressed up. Well, he who knows how who knows his level of affiliation with ICGG? We don't really know. He could have been dressed in full ICGG regalia. How else would law enforcement know? He may have been a member one time. We don't know because we never got those pictures. But we can tell what we can tell. We can tell some things. So I just want to bring all that out. So look, Kelly Richardson and all you other Hebrew Israelites, you aren't good researchers. You, generally speaking, don't know what you're talking about. And I don't say that because I dislike you or disrespect you. I just wish you were more humble. Most of you, it's some serious confirmation bias issues. And there's also some serious issues where you just jump to conclusions. It's just sad to watch. And then you make these videos where you're, being aggressive. You're trying to clap back. And it's just so poorly done. It's just a shame. But you're like in a different ballpark. You know what I'm saying? We're like doing real stuff here, and you guys are like playing games, a lot of you. Yeah, Kelly Richardson, I'm talking to you. It's silly. The video he put out is silly. Totally silly. But it's sad because people then believe it. You didn't have access to this. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what you're talking about. And you'll try to throw us under one, you guys are, ironically, you do the same thing to urban apologists when we've got our own styles and stuff. We've got a thing where we're parsing it out. I don't know. It's just massively frustrating when you're trying to do real work, real research, and then, you got stuff like this. But it is what it is. But I think people who are really paying attention knows what's going on, and we've learned a lot here tonight. Faithful, you got some final words, man? Final words, maybe anything about the live chat? Anything else? Oh, what in the world? Young Tebow. You're getting timed out. I don't know if you're trying to make a joke or what's popping, but Young Tebow, you are going to get timed out. If you ever come back here talking like that, you're gone forever. Thank you, mods. Thank you, D New specifically. Thank you, D New. Good job. Appreciate it. Go ahead, man.
I'm noticing some of the comments in the live chat in reference to the things that we're showing when it pertains to the Lord's justice. So Tart 70 seems to think that this is only applicable to the nations outside of Israel, or who he perceives to be Israel, which he hasn't actually demonstrated who he thinks Israel is in any capacity. But what the Bible lays out, according to Matthew 25, is the Lord is going to separate peoples from all nations, sheep from the goats. And if you read Matthew 8, 10 through 12, You're going to have people from the nation of Israel being in the pile of the goats, along with the wicked people from, the other nations. The wicked from Israel and the wicked from the other nations will be in the pile of the goats, and the righteous from Israel and the righteous from the other nations will be in the pile of the sheep. Those are God's elect people. Those are the people who have believed on Christ. And God's justice will be done. Revelation 20:15 is real. David Anderson is going to find out, if he hasn't already, who his creator is that he didn't actually know. And he is guilty. He doesn't have the blood of the Lamb covering him, and his actions were a testimony to that. We simply tell people, and it's important to understand this, all Hebrew Israelites are not alike. We're not lumping you all together. But ideologies like this exemplify the hatred and the murder that is in the heart of many proponents of Hebrew Israelism. Not all, and we're not referring to you, but we're referring to people like this, and people like the camps, and people who unfortunately are being influenced by the camps. I just wanted to say this as, my parting words. This is why I have a channel, Faithful to God, that deals with this doctrine. I was formerly being beguiled by that doctrine. I was somebody who had hatred in my heart. And yes, I understand the history of this country. I understand the injustices done to African Americans and to my people group. And the people who perpetuated that injustice and those heinous acts against African Americans and my people group, if they didn't bow the knee to Christ and repent, they're going to give an account on Judgment Day before Christ, and they're going to be found guilty, and Revelation 20:15 will be their final fate. But guess what? The same is going to be true for those from the Hebrew Israelite side who had hatred in their heart, who had murder in their heart, if they did not repent and turn to Christ and bow the knee.
Amen. Amen. I'll let you wrap up, but go ahead.
Yeah, so with that being said, if anyone wants to check out my channel, you can find me again on YouTube, Faithful to God. Again, that is Faithful to God. You can also find me on Facebook, Faithful to God. I just wanted to say this one last thing. We try our best to make distinctions because we know there are clear differences. The only thing that we will say is this. If you are on the fence and if this is convicting your heart, then we call you to believe on the only begotten Son of God, Jesus Christ, for the remission of your sins. And we simply ask you to consider everything that was said today. And for those on the Hebrew Israelite side who disagree with us, learn to have cordial disagreements. Stop doing the very thing that you accuse Vocab Malone of doing, which is to misrepresent and falsely accuse people. And that's all I got to say.
No doubt. Thank you on that, brother. And where'd it go? Andre Bell. I'm not sure if you're aware, but Dante Fortson won't have a discussion with me. Look up his conditions for what he says he has to have a discussion with somebody. Look up, he has this little list of conditions he made. And so I don't know what you're talking about. And I think Faithful, one time was able to have a discussion with him, or either Teo. I don't know if he had a discussion with both or one, but it didn't go well for whichever one of those guys it was. I mean, they're kind of like, clones of each other to a certain extent. But no one is afraid. I mean, we'll go out on the street. We'll talk to the smart guys like Divine Prospect, whoever. It's all good. And we can go lower or go high, whatever you want. Dante is nothing new, basically. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know why. It's weird, though. He does seem to have a considerable stranglehold on the mentality of his followers, more so than I've seen from a non-camper as of late. That is a fascinating thing. The psyche of his followers is fascinating. Andre, when have we ever shown fear to talk to any Hebrew Israelite in history? We've done debates. We go out on the street. It's a long list. Dante is not the most formidable Hebrew Israelite I have dialogued with, if he would dialogue. So, Andre Bell, you know what you need to do? You need to get on your man Dante, tell him to stop with his little parameters of who he'll talk to and who he won't, and have a discussion with me on a neutral platform about a topic we agree on. He doesn't get to set all the rules. That's what he wants to try to do with his little list. I don't know what
You know,
you're
he
talking
wouldn't
about.
debate me on Sister Cherry's platform.
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
in the live stream, and I
Yeah.
called him into the room, and he refused to come in.
Yeah, he's not. Dante is not really ready for legitimate smoke. What Dante likes to do is to make PowerPoints with the same template every time. Whoever wins Dante Tool Fortune. I mean, he's one of the slowest slick talkers I ever heard. You see, hello, everyone's Dante Thorson. And he also needs some Gatorade because the brother's thirsty. He loves mentioning people and tagging me in every video. One time he even called me his muse. You know, I mean, he's like, bro. And it's done well for him. The strategy has worked. He has grown by his interactions with urban apologists. But the man is dishonest and disrespectful, as we can all see by what happened with him and Nefertiti. And, you know, he ended up calling her ratchet and all of this. And, of course, he did, because she just eviscerated what he brought out. And this is not a personal thing. They make it personal. This is just facts. So, yeah, whatever you say, Andre. Andre, I'm really close to timing you out because you keep on saying the same thing, and you're about to get timed out, man. You have to calm down a little bit. Don't tell me again to go have a conversation with your man until you tell your man to have a conversation with me. You know what I'm saying? All right, so that works. This has been an excellent discussion. I do believe a lot of information has been brought out here. And Faithful, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end the show with a freestyle to try to keep it light. Are you ready for that?
Oh yeah.
All right, let me try to find a beat. So go. So go. So go. Switch. All right, we'll do this one right here. All right, y'all ready? All right, bring it up, bring it up, bring it up. Let's do it. Bring the boom back. Thanks to y'all for the ill super chat, super chat. You know the super. Vocab Malone faithful, be a trooper. Trooper for God, the SA squad. It's not that hard. I pulled a card of the Hebrew Israelite. You know the type. They always like conspiracy. They type on the internet to find what agrees with their pet theory. Conspiracy, hear me loud and clearly. Listen, I know that it's dear to thee. Your theory of being a J-E-W. But listen, let me trouble you. You don't get the W. I'm coming through vocab balloon, shutting you mouth up like it wasn't stitches. Listen, homeboy, don't be snitches. I try to get vicious, but with a smile. Call me Sid Vicious. Freestyle, gumma pile, top of the pile. We rock the microphone. Ow, hey, out on an aisle from Staten Island. Vocab alone, love to be freestyling, wildin'. We debunk all of your bunk. We ain't no punk. I gained a little chunk from eating chunky monkey. ICECREAM, Ben and Jerry. Vocabulary scholarly did prepare me. Seminary. Shout out to Paul P from NZ350. You see, that's a super chat rap. Got a super chat fat. Here we go again, getting kinda fat. Got a Black Panther hat plus the shirt. It's vocab alone. We putting in the work. Putting in vert with the article. Break down your aria to a particle, Now it's getting small barnacle, the bottom of a ship. So we ripped, don't set trip with that lip. Hey, how you doing? I got this grip like a G.I. Joe. It's the Kung Fu coming through. Shout out to the crew. Yes, indeed. How do you do? Salt Lake City guy, Rogan Black too. Plus the person named Grace in the place. S. Draper, hey, that's my ace. Little C, Carm M, Isaiah Braxton for the win. Plus sister, that's Sister Cherry. Her channel is legendary. Plus the panel, vocab Malone, keep it hot like flannel. What I meant to say. Today Mother's Day, today Sunday. One way to heaven, no Jesus. He's the one, he will see us. He will free us. Better than MLK or Abe Lincoln. That day, emancipation. I meant what I said. Vocab alone from the top of the head. Mess up a little bit with the riddle bit. Here I come again. Got the flavor like a Skittle bit. Not illiterate. Vocab alone, skittle a bit, and I wiggle a bit when I wibble, when I wobble. Hey, how you doing? Now I got the bobble head. A Spurgeon in the back. That's dope. This was a nice rap, wasn't it? We brought the facts. Nah. Let me end with one more. I'm gonna do a different one. Let me try one more. We might end with one more. This will be the last beat. Here we go. One more freestyle for the haters. It's freestyle for the haters. You know we love you, haters. Turn this up. Soko on the beat. Here we go. Yo. Vocab Malone from Phoenix, Arizona. Here I go again from the top of the dome. Yes, indeed. Once again, it's on. I don't say shalom, say shalom. Homes, like I had a casa. Shout out to the Chicanos, La Raza. Yeah. Locked in La Pinta, Vocab Malone. I'm like a Nina Pinta, Santa Maria. Cause I explore 1, 2, 3, 4 ill metaphor. Call me Matador, why I dodge all the bull. Here we go again, take a whack kid to school. Hey yo, One West, I must confess, you need a little more heart in your chest. I deliver like UPS with these rhymes that are ill and fresh. Now guess like jeans, I'm coming clean like a washing machine, not a meme. Why you gotta be obscene? Shout out to the SA, mean king. Up in the house, up in the scene. You know we work it out. Now what you do? My dean, meaning my religion. I'm coming through like a surgeon. Precision, yes, I'm living. A Christian who's spitting. The beat is all over already. Oh man. You know what? Christ died and so I'm forgiven.
Street apologist. 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 On the radio.